Yay! Hello, Toolkit Masters. Welcome to the 27th of July Q&A Thursday. We're back. How exciting. I'm always excited about these things. Okay, so I'm going to check my technical bits and pieces over here. But in the meantime, let's do some housekeeping. If you could let me know that you can see me by writing your name down the bottom and just say yes, or you don't have to write your name, just say yes, I can hear and see you. That would be fantastic. Hey, Flick, how you going? Nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. Hey, Derek, how you going? Debbie's here too. Fantastic. We've got a few with us today. Nice. I think I only had one last time, so that's good. Great to see you guys here. All right, so I've got a great question that's come from Peter K, because I think we've got a couple of Peters with us. So Peter K asked me a question this week, and also I've got some news for you at the end, so I'm really excited to share that with you. And just to remind you that there'll be no Q&A next Thursday, and I'll tell you all about that a bit later. But everything is good. We will go through these questions, and then I'll give you all the news at the end. So it's great to have you all here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. So stand by with me just for about 10 seconds. Hang on. Here we go. Here we are. There it is. Okay, live coaching, 27th of July 2017. Welcome everyone. I'm really excited that you're here. Remember, the same as every week, if you've got a question, just put it into the comments bar and I'll answer it straight away as soon as I see it. If you've got anything, we'll answer that straight away. If not, we'll just go through the question that we've got here, and then maybe you want to ask them at the end, and that's good too. Okay, so let's have a look. So Peter K, thank you for your question. His question was, how do I get my subordinates to buy into new initiatives that may differ from previous ingrained practices? So that's quite common, isn't it? When change comes down the line, whatever that change may be, sometimes it's really difficult to get your teams to be ingrained and engaged. So let's have a think about the things that we can do to set you up for success for that. So it's a great question, Peter. Well done. So let's have a look. So there's a couple of things that you can do. So communicate the change as a conversation. So talk to people about the changes you would speak to a family member or someone that you care about. You know, you're dealing with people's emotions, and that corporate speak never really connects with any of us. So forget about the canned speeches and have real dialogue with people to have a really healthy conversation. So when we talk about healthy conversations, we're talking about quantity. So this is just giving enough information, not too much, not too little. Don't inundate people with a tsunami of data, of charts, graphs, analysis, reports, all that sort of stuff, because honestly, people don't read them. So quantity is really, really important to think about there. The other thing is quality. So this is all about being authentic, being genuine. Don't bamboozle people with embellished information that are often presented in facts, because they will see through it, and then you've got a trust issue, okay? So ensure that there's the quality in those conversations. The other thing that's really important is relation. So it's relevant. So when you're talking about and having these conversations and you're talking about the change, connect what you say about the change to what's uppermost on people's minds. So how will the change affect them personally? And what's going to be the new expectation of them? Because that's really relative to them. So make sure those conversations are surround that, you know, being relevant. And then the manner. So communicate what you say in the clearest, most logical, briefest manner to help people understand. So try and avoid being vague or ambiguous or wordy, because honestly, you'll just lose them. So just make sure that you're really, really clear when you communicate that change. So that's the first thing you can do, right? So communicate the change as you would having a conversation with someone you care about. So it's not about facts, figures, tables, charts, analysis, all that sort of stuff. It's about just getting to the truth. So the next thing that we need to do, Peter, is address the relationships in the room. So do your homework here to understand how each person might feel. And you can do a stakeholder analysis, it's called. You can Google that. I can talk to you about that further over the email, Peter, if you need that help. But you really need to determine how you think people are going to react about this particular change. And, you know, emotions in each stage of these change are triggered by lots of things. It could be lack of information, it could be suspicion, fear, skepticism, shifting priorities, all those sorts of things. People feel threatened. So, you know, think about how you're going to address these emotions and concerns, and let people know that you understand their world and how they feel, because this will open up an emotional conduit between you and them. So they'll be able to feel safe to come to you when they're feeling fearful or threatened or overwhelmed. So make sure that you try and open that emotional conduit. So if you're a leader who communicates change through facts and numbers, it's going to be really difficult to be heard. So you need to really address the emotions. And you can only do this by taking people by the hand and leading them to the next stage, okay? And it's all about empathy. Put yourself in their shoes. So when you get to the next stage, that's the stage of acceptance, and they'll be committed. And, you know, it involves hope and trust and all those sorts of things. So take people on a journey with you by listening and having empathy for the way they're going to feel about this change. It's really, really, really important. Facts and figures and all those sorts of things will have very limited impact, but you actually listening to what people's fears and how they feel threatened or whatever the emotion might be, that's going to have a huge impact. Now, talking about emotions and things like that, when we, in the Team Leader Tool suite, you've got this, and I know that it's probably hard to see here, but this is all the components that are needed when change takes place. And when there's something missing, you're going to get a particular emotion. So for example, the things that you need in change, you need vision, values, strategy, resources, capability, motivation and feedback, and then you'll get good change. Now, if any one of those are missing, so let's go down the bottom here. If you're missing feedback, then the typical emotion that you're going to get back is doubt. People are going to feel really doubtful. If you miss motivation, then you're going to find yourself really crawling to get there. The team is going to be digging their heels in. They're not motivated to change. They can't see the benefits for them. So therefore, why bother? Okay, it's going to be a real crawl. If you lack capability, then it's going to be fatigue, because you're going to be the one that's going to be doing all the work because you haven't built the capability in your team to do that. So it's going to be extremely tiring and fatiguing. And just one more here. So if you're missing resources, so you don't have the time to implement the change, or you don't have the pieces of kit, or you don't have the people, or whatever it may be, then that's just going to lead to frustration. And that's where you're going to cop from your team. So this is available. This tool is particularly available on the Team Leader Tool suite. It's not my tool. It's one that I borrowed. There's where it is from there, from Alcoa. It was back in 1992 when they invented this, but it just gives you a one-pager to go, these are the things I need to ensure are in place during this change. And if I don't put some of these in, this is what I'm going to cop from my team and myself. So that's just available for you to download as a bit of a tool and a help. But what else can we do? What else can we do? So, do you know, there is a disconnect between what my leaders think is frequent communication and then how employees perceive that. So you may think that you've said the same message a number of times, but honestly, you need to do it more. So what I'm saying here is there was a study that was done, and because the current climate of skepticism in organisations, because there's so much change and dynamics in the world that's going on at the moment, we live in a VUCA world. So the majority of people need to hear information between 3 and 5 times That's between 3 and 5 times before they start to believe the message. And this is really, really important when you're trying to convince people of the merits of a change. Because people, they're grappling with emotions and they're less receptive to believing what they hear. So consistency and repetition are really the key here. So make sure if you've got a change coming down, it's not a once-off discussion. It's, it's repeated between 3 to 5 times that they recommend. So it's just something to be aware of. And on that, a build on that is varying the communication method. So use different forums to communicate the vision and the new change. So you could have large group meetings, you could have memos, you could have posters, informal one-on-one talks with each of your team members. So there's lots of variation with how you're communicating this. And that's really important for a lot of reasons. Some people like to read things and then they take it on better. Some people like to hear them. Some people like to see a visual representation. So you're going to be catering for everybody on how they take on information. And we covered that a little bit more in Module 2, I think. So that should be fairly familiar to you. So today we can also make use of targeted and strategically spaced emails as well. So, as people are, you can drip feed the information bit by bit, making sure that they're not becoming overwhelmed through the email. But then you might have a team that don't access their emails. So then you have to be a little bit more innovative and try and find other methods where they, put posters on the meeting boards or whatever it's going to work for you. And then when people hear the same message from multiple different directions, it's got a better chance of being heard and remembered. So it's really, really important to have a think about doing that. So the other thing is when you are trying to pitch a change, for example, facts alone really don't persuade and they don't inspire people to change. So you need to enrich that message by using metaphors, analogues, anything that you can do that will resonate with the people in your team. You can use examples to show what the change means for people. In fact, your most powerful technique is a really good story. So if you can tell a good story, and it's best if it's your story. How have you felt when you've gone through change before? This is what happened. You were really hesitant at first. This is what the change that was coming through. Nobody liked it. We were concerned that things were going to change too much. We were concerned that maybe our jobs are on the line, all this sort of stuff. And then tell them the story about how it worked out and what were the things that worked out for you. So really resonating with them. So, tell an uplifting story that brings, how you brought a vision to life in the past, or tell a story about, I know how you're feeling. This is my story of me going through the same thing. So then people can connect with you and then they're going to feel safe to come and approach you and be able to get more information from you. So just use that technique if you can. The other thing is developing an elevator pitch. So there's going to be times when people are going to stop you in the hallway or, ask you questions off ad hoc or all those sorts of things. So besides all the usual methods and forums to communicate the change, it's also useful to have a really succinct elevator pitch to use so that you've got it for all different circumstances. So I've just put a few bullet points here of what you can use for that. So it doesn't have to be long. It can be, a minute or two, but it's really if people come up to you and ask you about it, these are the things that you can just peel off. And you can express those key points. So, here's what the change initiative is all about. That's the what's in it for me, what's in it for the company, what's in it for your team. It's important to do because here's what success will look like, especially for you. So if somebody from your team is specifically asking you about it, that's what, you can really individualize that. And then here's what we need from you. So here's what we need from you as being a member of the team. We want to see your insights. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear if there's any sort of new strategies or ideas or insights that you might have that can make this change even better. So developing that elevator pitch so that you can use it, wherever you need or in an ad hoc fashion, going to be really, really important. The other thing that we need to do, Peter, is walk the talk. So if there's ever a time that you need to walk the talk, this is it, okay? Because change, nobody likes change. Some people are more resilient to it than others, but there's a lot of people out there that are really resistant to change. So your credibility as a leader is crucial in getting people to get buy-in on that change. So if your credibility is low, people won't believe your message. One of the most powerful ways to communicate a new direction is through your own behaviour. So when people are seeing you live the change vision, you know, all the doubts and cynicism seems to start to evaporate. So, you know, I think there's a saying, isn't there, that words are cheap but actions aren't. And this is really where that comes into itself. So, you know, walk the talk as much as you can and really champion the change. If you're feeling really uneasy and feeling really out of your comfort zone, then try and get as much information you can from your bosses to help you with that, because you're going to be the one that's going to be championing the change to your team. If you go to your team and go, oh, this is going to be a bit crap and it's going to be a bit hard and all this sort of stuff, well, then that's how they're going to feel. They're going to feel 10 times worse than you. So this is your chance to be able to live it and champion it. And I've got prepare for the enemy. Now, you know, let's be honest, no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone that's trying to sabotage the change initiative, or, you know, if they do it openly, well, then you can deal with it. You know, you can deal with it with courageous conversations, but often they do it covertly or behind closed doors. And, you know, there's some people that might try and get discontentment and cast doubt and all those sorts of things. And we need to get to the bottom of that. We need to find out what we need to do to that individual or with that individual to make them a little bit more coming on the journey with us. But just understand that this can happen so that you can be prepared with a plan of what you're going to do. And I have no doubt that you will know in your team if there is somebody that is going to be really negative about this change. And it's going to be really, really important for you to prepare for that conversation that you're going to have with them. So confront them. So confront them individually at first to find out what are the issues. What's causing this behaviour? It could be fear. It could be the feeling of threat. It could be they've seen it before and it hadn't worked, so they have really lack of trust in it. Whatever it may be, you need to get to that as well. Seek to understand the barriers that's stopping them to come on board, you know. Have a close coaching sort of relationship with them regularly. And then if this doesn't work, then you're going to have to start thinking about more disciplinary ways to deal with this. And that's tough, but, you know, ultimately change is going to be with pretty much every organisation. We're going to be continuously changing, continuously chasing market share, continuously trying to do the best that we can do with the resources that we've got. So maybe you need to ask the candid question about job fit, really. So prepare for the enemy. You know who it is. You know who it could be. You may get a surprise attack by someone who you think was going to be really, really on board and they're not. So having those courageous conversations is going to be really, really important at that stage because you don't want that to continue. So I think that's all I had, Peter. I'm hoping that that has helped you prepare for the change that you're coming down the line. Understand that it's going to be tough. It's never easy. But your preparedness is what's going to set you up for success and set your team up for success. And that authenticity and genuineness is going to be really, really important because it will allow your team to feel safe enough to come and go, do you know what? I'm really struggling with this. I'm struggling with part A, part B, and part C because I'm not seeing the benefits. I don't know what it's going to do to impact my role. I don't know how I'm going to work, you know, in that particular scenario. So then you can sit down and have those candid conversations and try and put their minds at ease. So that's it. So Peter, I really hope that that has helped. I haven't emailed you yet because we got this question quite late in the week. So I will email you all that so that you've got that time to reflect. If you've got any other questions on that, then feel free to get back to me and ask anything else. I'm just going to take you off the screen share now and see what other people's thoughts were. Here we are, we're back. Okay, so hopefully that helped. I think it's really, really important to understand that it's not going to be an easy time. There's going to be challenges. You can prepare for them. There's going to be some that's going to come off the cuff, and that's okay. And it's also okay for you to reach out. So if you're really struggling with it, so reach out to people that might be a bit of a mentor for you, maybe your manager, maybe somebody that you feel that is really highly credible in this sort of situation. So make sure that you reach out as well, because sometimes you can't do this on your own. You're not meant to. So I will be here for you if you need that external mentorship. I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got. Just email me. I'll get back to you. We can do it over the live chat if you want, or we can, set up a phone call or something. So feel free to do those sorts of things. So hopefully that helped, Peter. I don't think you're on the line with us, but that's okay. Did anyone have any insights or thoughts about that? I'll leave it for a couple of seconds to see if you can share with me your insights and thoughts. Or if anyone's got change coming up, is this going to be helpful? Or have you all fallen asleep? Okay. And I'll get onto my news in a minute. The other thing, while people might be typing or thinking about what they want to write down in there, if you've got any questions for me right now, and it might not be anything to do with Peter's question, it might be something else. You might be having some issues with some people on your team. You might be having some issues with your managers. You might be having issues with a workplace decision, all those sorts of things. If possible, be incremental. Yeah. So talk to me more about that, Derek. I know it's going to be a bit tough over here, but it's a good thought. You've got some great insights, Derek. Yeah, so if you've got any questions of anything that's happening, have you got a pain point that's really keeping you up at night? Is there something that is not working for you and you're not sure how to fix it? Then let's connect and have a chat about it. I think it's important that we keep connected and make sure that you feel like you've got another access to get mentored. Can you just implement one part so that would be easy to get buy-in? Yes. Now I get what you're saying. Absolutely. So you're talking about breaking up the change, being able to bring the change in, or maybe, over some time, over months, and then do the next bit. Absolutely. I think that's really, really fantastic if you've got the capacity to do that. So if your business happens to be able to stage the change, then absolutely, I think that that's a really good thing to do. The one thing I would say with that is you still want to be advertising your end game, but being quite open and robustly honest about, but we're going to do it in stages and this is what it's going to look like. So it'll take a little bit of that fear and anxiety away, hopefully. Yeah, good one, Derek. Well done. Debbie, got anything for me? Flick, Janet? Anything that you want to add? Got any questions? Or Derek, have you got any other questions, thoughts, before I get onto my news? So while you guys are thinking about that, I might just let you know. So got some news, obviously. Next week we won't have a Q&A Thursday, unfortunately. I was going to try and make it a different day, but that's not possible. I've got to go in for some day surgery, nothing important, but it's the only day that they can do it, to be totally brutally honest with you. And I didn't want to bring another coach in at this stage. So I'm not going to be able to be here on Thursday. You agree with Derek. Well done, Flick. Yes, so I'm unavailable. So that's okay. That doesn't stop you putting any emails out. So if anything's happening in your world that you're a bit concerned about, if anything's pain points have sort of arisen over that time, then feel free to email me, because I will be online. I just won't be able to drive, really. I'm not allowed to drive that day. I'll be sedated, all that sort of stuff. So for my own safety, I'm going to say we will give it a miss next week. So, Flick, take it slowly, one bit at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. Yes, well done. How do you eat an elephant? In very small pieces. Hope it goes well. Thanks, Flick. Deb. Thanks, Tina. Very useful information. I'm having to run away now. Have a meeting. Good luck with the surgery, Tina. All the best. Thanks, Debbie. No worries. Excellent, Derek. Thank you, guys. I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the love. Well done. All right. No worries. Now, that's it for us for this week. Remember, next week we're not on, but we will be the week after. And if you've got anything, still email it through to me and I'll contact you that way. But if nobody has got any other questions, then I will bid you farewell for a fortnight. Oh, how will I do without you for a fortnight? It's okay. We'll be fine. All right. No worries, guys. Thanks again, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye.